All right. We live. We are back for another open court discussion live in the Counselor's Corner. I am your host, David Lorenzo Glover, aka the Controversial Counselor. Joining me is my co-host, the Big Bad Wolf, Herb Lewis.
Oh, and I'm tipping the night so y'all know what kind of night it's gonna be.
Wolf is thirsty. The panel will be a showtime decision. If you want in, please pull up. You are more than welcome to join us. Recap from this past Monday show. Is it protection or control? Do you know the difference? Check out the replay on the YouTube channel, The Controversial Counselor. Also, I do have some reels circulating on YouTube, IG, Facebook, and TikTok about the broadcast as well. Let's push forward to tonight, Monday, February 5th at 9 p.m. We will discuss the scenario, a compromised future. Let's set the stage as if this was 1965. A high school senior has a full athletic scholarship to a prestigious university. He recently found out that the girl he was messing around with is pregnant. We know that abortions isn't a possibility, so what are they going to do? From the Big Bad Wolf's Herb's upcoming book, The 100 Questions, let's look at some questions. Do you support pro-life or pro-choice? Number two, do you believe the father should be forced to drop out of school and start working to support the child and family he created? Number three, what would you do or say as the parent of the mother to be? This will be another dynamic conversation with a lot of twists and turns. Please like and share our video, and don't forget to tell someone to subscribe to the YouTube channel, The Controversial Counselor. I think we're sitting at 8:30 right now. Only picked up a couple this week, but it's a slow grind, organic grind. But we'll get there. We will get there. All right, so we're here. Black History Month is in the play. Uh, I'm not one to overly hype that up. In fact, I don't know. I guess it depends on certain schools or whatever that um, kind of follow it because my thinking is it should be automatically in the curriculum. It should be in the curriculum, and they should be learning about that all throughout the year as time go on. When they have certain sectors and they're talking about history, it got to be something that blacks did during that time. But I never recall throughout my school and learning anything as far as that other than Martin Luther King. Had no idea about Malcolm X or any of those people. So again, I respect I respect that history, but you're not gonna minimize me for this February. Oh, we got one extra day this year. It's leap year.
Leap year, yeah.
So that's that. Everything on this end, just busy. Like I said last week, busy time of the year. Just trying to get everything together. Got a lot of personal goals that I have to accomplish. Got to take a couple classes so I can re up on my certification for another 5 years. So I'm like, man, I don't know how people could be lifetime college students. I'm over it. And these is like simple little classes that I've been trying to avoid, that I don't have to write no papers or anything. A lot of times people say, man, when you going back to get your doctorate? Let's go together. Let's do a program together. Just don't have it in me right now. Unless something came up, I just don't
Yeah.
have it in me. And I know it's a lot of tools out there. People can edit your paper. Hey, you get people to write your damn paper if you pay them enough. But that wouldn't be right to me if I didn't have my stamp on it. So I don't know. Maybe if something hit me in a couple years, I might say, all right, let me up this thing to so I could be a doc. But again, like one of my students said, this was earlier in the year. She was like, I don't know why you keep putting emphasis on calling these people that are here doctors. They're not doctors. I said, they are. It's just like they got theirs in education. Only doctor I'm going to recognize, Mr. Glover, is medical doctors. They just going to be Mr. and Miss to me. I'm like, well, you just don't have no respect for that. But I'm not gonna go
Yeah.
back and forth with a 13-year-old, but that's how they view it. So their opinion is their opinion. All
You know what
right,
the funny
Herb.
thing about that is this. It brings back to like really start present day memory. Me doing volunteer mentoring in one of the preparatory schools, and I've always said that, and going through the Q&A with some of the kids, and it's like you said, there's no need in going back and forth with kids that they don't understand. But I always try to get to the root of what it is and why they don't understand, because we have to realize that students are young adults and they can only deal and make decisions about the information that they have. And if they don't have the information, they can't make an informed decision. And that's anybody. It's not just kids, it's also adults. So, and I'll use this example. I was in Miss Klingersmith's class. God bless that woman. She was kind enough to let me stand up there and address the class on certain situations. And I asked the class, I said, how many of you guys have a cell phone? Of course, everybody raises their hand. I said, now, this is what I want you guys to do. I said, every Tuesday I come in here, I'm going to have a question. It's going to have to do with history, because that was a class. It was social studies history. I said, the individual who emerges with enough correct or the most correct answers, I will purchase them a yearbook. Well, doesn't seem like a whole lot, but yearbooks, were like $50, $60. So that's a fair piece of change for them, considering some of them may not have been working. But the incentive was to get them to go back and understand history and how we got to present day, that including cell phones. So I would say, let's start with something simple. How small is that battery? Oh, battery's only small. I said, yes, but batteries aren't always that small. So how did batteries get to be that small? And before they would answer, I say, understand, you are in competition with everybody in this classroom. So even if somebody is your friend, you have to understand that you're in competition with them. The one thing that does is it sets the pace for them to understand that just because somebody's your friend doesn't mean you shouldn't want to beat them. Two, when they get to be in higher grades, they'll understand that everything around them is going to be based on who knows what, who can do it better, who can do it faster. That's our economy. That's the global economy. Who can build it, who can build it cheaper, who can build it faster, and knowing everything that comes beyond it. Now, speaking to what Dave was talking about in regards to Black History Month, Black History Month is something I don't celebrate. I acknowledge the existence of it, but I don't celebrate it. Why? Because if you look at the way life is now for humanity, you can't go into a hospital and have a major surgery without the contributions of a black man. That would be Charles Drew, who learned how to preserve blood. Your freight wouldn't be able to move as far if it wasn't for the air brakes. You wouldn't have skyscrapers if it wasn't for the emergency brake on a rail car, on an elevator car. These are inventions that are solely done by blacks, but we don't teach it in that particular manner. So the way these kids are being taught lends itself to not being concerned about black inventors. And I understand it because I was at that age. Just like David was saying, I remember being at Buffalo State College and in one of our AASO meetings, and we would have this discussion. And at that particular point in time, it was just like, there's a need for understanding what Black History Month means, but there's a bigger need for understanding what inventions mean to people, period. Light bulbs. Louis Latimer, KRS-One talked about this in the song "You Must Learn." He improved on Charles Edison. He's the one that developed the filament so lights would burn longer. But we don't teach this in that particular manner, so it's not deemed important. So I would encourage any parent, regardless of what your ethnicity is to pull out a book and go back to basics and sit there with your kid and have these earnest and honest discussions cross culture, because one invention in one place is eventually going to infect the entire world and another.
Right. Anita, good evening. How you doing?
Hi, how are you?
All
Good
right.
evening.
Hi.
Anything you want to get add to the introduction or
To Black History Month?
just
Just whatever.
period?
Yeah.
Um, not much going on. My dog has stage 4 heart failure, so I'm a little bit upset about that. Took him to the vet today.
Sorry to
And
hear that.
thanks. And I'll be in Florida Wednesday.
Let's bring some sunshine to your life.
Mm-hmm. This light-skinned girl needs some vitamin D in her life. Take that however you want it.
I'm not touching it. I'm not touching it. I'll leave it alone. A little birdie is a little birdie in the nest. Leave it there.
Right? And
Yeah,
people
that's all that's
Well,
going on here.
okay. So people remember to please like and share the video. Hit that like button and let's keep that moving. And if you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, The Controversial Counselor, subscribe. Click on that so you can get notifications as well when I put out videos. But to get into the subject matter, a compromised future. And for the people just joining us, I'm going to set the table again. Here it goes. Let's set the stage. A high school, we're taking it back as if this was in 1965, a little bit of history. Uh, a high school senior has a full athletic scholarship to a prestigious university. He recently found out that the young lady he was messing around with is pregnant. We know that abortions isn't possible during that time. So what are they going to do? So then we I asked three essential questions from Herb's 100 questions. Do you support pro-life or pro-choice? Number two, do you believe the father should be forced to drop out of school and start working to support the child and family he created? And three, what would you do or say as the parent of the mother to be? So there we have it. So that's what's on the table. Anybody want to dig in? Oh,
You don't want to go first, Anita?
No, I don't.
Okay. This situation presents a lot of different dynamics because even though in 1965 abortion was illegal in most states, there were some places where you can go to actually get a legal abortion. Problem was transportation and, of course, cost and any undue or unseen complications that may arise from the procedure. Because then, even though some people could do it, some doctors were able to perform the procedure, they still didn't know all the fallout that was going to come from the aftermath. So what they did was, in legalizing abortion, at least at the Supreme Court level, was to make it safer for women to have the procedure. So, women wouldn't, and this might be a little graphic for some. So women wouldn't resort to using clothes hangers or other devices that were unsanitary, unhealthy, possibly cause a hemorrhage and bleed out and die. That's one of the primary reasons why abortion became legal. It wasn't necessarily to be used as a method of child or birth control, as some women have been apt to abuse. You hear some women have had multiple abortions, and some people will say, "Well, how in the hell could you do such a thing? Doesn't it matter to you? Don't you care about this?" And they say, "Look, I'm just trying to have a good time, yada yada yada." And so it becomes a discussion of morality versus personal choice. This is where you get into the pro-choice, pro-life, which I always thought was worded oddly. I was like, either you pro-abortion or you anti-abortion, because there are some situations that women are going to occur whether whether it's either the life of the unborn child or it's the mother. It's a hell of a situation for anybody, you know, to be asked to deal with. I'm fortunate. I've never been in that situation. No one that I know of, or at least known to me, has ever been in that situation. So I'm grateful for that. But I couldn't imagine, having to decide who do you want to live and who do you don't want to live, because that's something you got to live with for the rest of your life. I mean, you know, you're not playing Humpty Dumpty sat on the wall and Humpty Dumpty had a great fall and the King's men put him back together. No, this is one and done. It's like the NCAA tournament. You only get one crack at this. So, when you're dealing with a situation of this nature, and I'll just tackle it from the perspective of the guy who has the full ride. You have your entire life in front of you. Let's forget the athletic scholarship and let's just focus on the fact that you have a chance to potentially escape poverty. You can go to a 4-year school, get you a degree, and in that age, a black man with a degree, especially if he gets a medical degree, he was on his way to being something, to doing something, to escaping the chronic poverty that most black people were in then. Didn't matter where you go, he had the opportunity. But because he got himself into trouble, and that's what this is, he got himself into trouble, now he has to make a decision. And this decision is going to impact people and places. Because as it stands, she's going to have that child. And he's the father. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. We don't need any DNA. He's the only one that she's been dealing with. It's been confirmed. There's no denying. But he doesn't want to do that. He's what some women will call selfish. I
I think
understand. Go ahead,
I
Dave.
think I think in cases like that, that's when I don't know. You have to have a strong family unit that rallies around you that may say, no, you need to go ahead to college, whatever. We all gonna work together, and we gonna make sure this happens. So you go to college, do what you got to do, and if you get an opportunity to work, do what you can do. But we got your back, and when you get done, hopefully you'll be making some money, and you could. It's not like you missed a beat, but maybe that's a fairy tale to many that a lot of times the message is, oh, you made your bed, so now you lay in it. That's on you. You got to do what you got to do. So it depends on the family and how close the unit is. If everybody comes together, then nobody has to do a lot. And if you come from a circumstance like that, that may kind of ease the transition or the adjustments you have to make in your life based on you know irresponsible decision. But when you're a teenager and you're experiencing something, hey, you don't think about, hell, as adults you don't think about it half the time. So what you gonna do? But there's always consequences to your actions.
Yeah, and and I can speak to this person. When I was 23, I had a similar, very similar situation. The only difference was I didn't have a full ride to school. I was working weekends. Now, fortunate for me, the young lady, she came to me and I told her because some circumstances that were pending, weren't favorable as far as I was concerned to have a child in that particular environment. I won't get into all of that, but needless to say, she terminated the pregnancy at my request. Now, I still to this day say that that child potentially saved my life. It's the only time you'll actually ever hear me say that about a child, because the situation probably would not have ended well between me and the gentleman that she had children with prior. So, when I speak to this topic, I try and give it all the sensitivity that it demands. But in doing that, I also have to balance that with reality, because there's a lot of people, and they're not going to be scholar athletes, who upcoming in the next generation are going to be faced with this kind of situation. And you can't prepare them for it. There's no preparation for an unplanned pregnancy between a young woman and a guy who has his future set in front of him. Because he's going to want to be selfish. I don't blame him. But I'm still going to hold him responsible for the situation he put himself in, because nobody forced him to it. Nobody forced him to do it. He did it of his own volition. So he has to deal with that. And if guys are out there saying, well, she knew what could happen, she was okay with it, well, just say that road is a two-way street. Hell, he knew what could happen. He knew what was at risk, and if he didn't, then he really shouldn't have been playing around. He really just should have said, you know what? As much as I want to, not the right time. And some people will say, well, that's absurd. Who the hell expects a man to wait? I don't expect a man to do anything that's not in his best interest. Similarly, I don't expect a woman to do anything that's not in her best interest. So if you're going to play that game, you better know what the rules are, and you better understand what the violation of those rules come with. A lot of people don't want to do that. They want to play one half of the game and think that's the game. Nah, partner. This is a 4-quarter game. It ain't over at halftime. You got to go through the whole 9 months, plus at least 18 years. And nowadays, well, let's stick in 18 years. So either you're going to bite the bullet now, or you're going to bite the bullet later. The only question becomes, what you going to do? Because the parents know who you are, and they're going to come looking for you. And you better hope Papa don't have that jammy. Because in them days, that's what it was. You took the petals off of this flower. Well, you're gonna take this flower home with you. Since you planted something in this garden, you can take the flower home with you. However y'all handle it, that's however y'all handle it. Like David said, we gonna be here, but you gonna make that first move, and we gonna see to it that you make that first move.
See, and one of the things, well, first and foremost, you would only hope that the young lady would be actually his girlfriend, so it'd be
Yeah.
a sense of understanding and tolerance that they can work together. If it's just one of those, hey, I'm the big stud, um, hitting up this person, hitting up that person, and end up being a mistake at this stake. He's not going to perform. He's not going to perform probably on the field or on the court and academically with the stress level that he's probably going to get from that young lady, because I can just see it being a constant argument. Like, it was a mistake. We're not together, and she may be, because back in those days, if you got pregnant, they automatically. It was kind of, the culture was you get married,
Hmm.
uh, and they were getting married at young ages. So, and the thing about this is, I mean, if you take it back to 1965, I wasn't born yet at that time. But then I think trying to connect both of them modern times to also during that time, you thinking like marriage, like, man, I'm still young. I still got a whole lot of planning. I'm going to college. I'm trying to live. And all that extra stress level that'll be on you. It's hard for young people to kind of have all their faculties together with that added stress. Let alone you're still there. You're a student athlete, so you're a student as well. So you got to focus on your studies uh, as well. So it'll be a tough battle. It'll be a tough uphill battle, and like Herb said, when you got from her side, her parents, and if the father's around, that's added pressure. And she got brothers and uncles, whatever. They all gonna be at your neck, whatever. So that it's gonna probably take away from the actual college experience that you would have had if you
Yeah.
didn't make that mistake. So, but that's life in itself. That's back in those days, also as well as these days, like that extra stuff that's on your plate that you can't maximize your potential because you got other stuff lingering in your mindset. So it's always difficult.
Yeah. I go ahead, Anita, if you got something to say.
Oh, yeah. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. I was going to say this is a sensitive subject for me, being a woman. I personally believe in pro-life, and because it's both parties both parties were engaged in the act. They know what 50-50 outcome could be. So if you're going to engage in that kind of activity, you need to be prepared for what can come out of it. Now, these days, they have the morning after pill. In those days, they didn't. Also, it can affect the woman's health in the future. They could have potentially a more difficult time getting pregnant or other kind of health issues, reproductive health issues. Also, terminating a pregnancy, and I use terminate instead of the A word because the A word is a trigger for some people, some women. What was I saying? Totally forgot. Oh, I know. Just because if they terminate the pregnancy, just because they terminate it doesn't mean there's not going to be long-term mental and emotional effects from it on both parties eventually. More so for the woman because it's her body. She had to go through it. So just because the woman terminates it doesn't mean it's the end of the situation.
Mm-hmm.
Because the guilt afterwards, the long-term, thinking about it could bring grief, depression, suicidal ideations, a whole string of emotional and mental issues. For the guy, I believe that he should step up and be responsible for his half on the baby. And if he doesn't, shame on him. That's my stance. Regardless if he has a full scholarship to college, I don't give a damn. You helped create the situation. You step up and be responsible. And to me, that's all there is to it.
It's a dicey situation because if you look at it from the standpoint of them being mired in poverty for their adult lives versus him having the ability to pull them out of poverty, do you still want him to give up that opportunity so the family could be a unit?
Yes.
Now, what if his family doesn't see it that way? Because they're also going to benefit from him getting out of poverty.
Oh, well. It's not their life, it's his life and her life. And sometimes when you what do I want to say? Take that into consideration that when you look in the mirror, you got to deal with your decisions every day. You got to live with yourself and your decisions, not everybody else, because it's your life. You got to live with yourself forever. Also, terminating a pregnancy can be also life-threatening.
Mm-hmm.
Things can go wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And, there's also the option of adoption. So I would say, at first it may be overwhelming for everybody to consider. But I know a lot of, well, I don't know personally, but, some single mothers, after the baby comes and their parents were, up in arms about the situation, eventually it was an exciting journey and they learned to accept it. Now you can ask for advice or talk about your feelings about both decisions, but ultimately it's up to the woman. She has to live through that ordeal. And especially if her and the man don't work out forever, she still has to deal with that situation in her mind and her body. And I don't think it's fair for the guy to ask a woman to terminate it. They knew the consequences. They knew they were playing with fire, and they should have either put it off, did some oral, or used protection.
Again, and I think it depends on the nature of the relationship. I mean, if they're a couple, I'm sure it's going to be hopefully some compassion on both sides, even as far as him like, man, I gotta be there. I gotta be there to support her, and then the stance you took, like, oh well. I don't. If they're a couple, I don't know if that's the approach that most would take. Like, oh well, I'm sure she would like, okay, I got to work with him because this is an opportunity. We got to figure it out. It'll be more brainstorming and families coming together to try to figure it out so that everything is smooth. But if you take on the approach as the woman, like, oh well, and you want to be, excuse my language, a, a whole bitch about the situation, you rather pack your lunch because it's gonna be a long battle with you as well, because essentially you will need that side. You will need his family, side of the family, whether it's um, his mother, father, sisters, aunts, and all of that stuff. You're gonna need their support. So that's why cooler heads. People got to be able to get their emotional intelligence together to try to figure it out. But if you want to be public enemy number one, it's gonna be a battle. It's gonna be a battle.
Especially in that time age. I'm going to assume anyway, and I could be wrong. Most of us have seen the movie Grease. Now, I didn't realize this till some years ago that one of the themes of that was actually teen pregnancy. I didn't realize that until somebody else was reviewing the movie and pointed that out. So while teen
Bizzle,
pregnancy,
She didn't get
Um,
pregnant.
um, one of them did, from at least from what the story was that I got. And I could be wrong. Um, I think that was the whole thing with the beauty school dropout. I could be wrong, but anyway, even though teen pregnancy was a thing, the way that they handled it then was because the girl was so young that they would send her out of town
Right.
and she would have the kid come back some years later. Oh, this is her cousin. Now, it was only known to a very small, very select group of people that that was indeed her child. So, in some instances, the guy would get off, not even a slap on the wrist. He would go off, and whatever it was he did, he did. This is why you hear cases about people like Terrell Owens, who was dating his sister that was unknown to him. So that's, that becomes one of the things that a lot of people may not be aware of about that particular type of action with a younger girl who got pregnant. For the guy, like I said, as Anita pointed out, he doesn't have to bear those consequences in the same manner. Unfortunate. That's why we always talk about, you know, women protecting themselves in every situation because simply put, we don't know. None of us are sitting up here with a crystal ball. None of us are oracles. We do not know what the future holds. This is why you hear a lot of guys who say, marry before you carry. Yeah, that works in a lot of situations. But what if you're out drinking? And as apt was happening in those days, because the drinking age was also much younger. Somebody probably got into some illicit acid dropping, as was prone to happen in those days. And all of a sudden now, she's late. Well, who was she with? Well, we don't know. Well, we gonna find out quick. We gonna round up everybody that was at that party. We gonna start doing the Q&A, and we gonna find out eventually who she was with. Yeah, we're not here to sugarcoat things. We're here to tell you the realities of what life is going to present now that abortion has no longer been codified at the federal level. Now, understand what that means. That means at the state level, in certain states where it's still legal, women can undergo the procedure. That also means that in states where it's not, they won't. And I know what some people are thinking. Let me cut you off at the pass. They're thinking you can go across to a state where it's legal. Your government's already ahead of you. There are governments who are state governments now who are making it illegal to go across a state line and have the procedure done. And if you're thinking that they can't, they can. You are governed by the state in which you have permanent residency in. Let me make that clear. The state in which you receive mail in, you got bills in, addresses in, that's the state you are official residents of. So if you cross the state line and have the procedure done and you come back and they arrest you, I'm going to pray for you. But it's not looking good. So understand, those of you who have young daughters, you better start putting them to the game. You better start teaching them all the tricks, all the things that young boys might say, all the things that young boys might do, all the sexting and texting. You better get them up to speed because it only take one shot. And if that boy, go ahead, Dave.
The problem with that is, and I'm speaking on this age, in this current time, that a lot of these women think that shit cute. That these girls, 11, 12, oh, that's her boyfriend and all that stuff. Putting this stuff in these girls, because eventually, okay, it's gonna become a point in time where you think it's, oh, they talk on the phone, they play whatever those little freaking games together. I can't even think, roadblocks and all that stuff. And you think that's gonna be, you think that's the end of their conversation. No, they on the phone all night long, and sooner or later, it's gonna be some introduction again, like we always talk about. Could you send me a picture? Um, I can send you a picture. Well, my boy, him and such, they did it, or whatever the case is. Man, you've been together longer. When can we do it, or whatever the case is? All that pressure is gonna come. But meanwhile, when you think, oh, such and such, she go with him. He's so cute. They're a little couple. Listen, let kids be kids. I know that's a natural process, but when you try to promote it and you're not trying to gear them to another way. Don't worry about boys right now at this time. Focus on your grades. Focus on this. But when you try to promote it, that becomes a different story. And you had these people out here promoting it. They, posting the pictures. Look at such and such. Look at her little man. He ain't a freaking man. He's a kid. And then you can't expect them not to do grown folks things, and they will do it. They will do it. Maybe not, well, they'll just do it at school. They'll do it at school. The Holiday Inn.
Yeah.
Especially these little girls that go to the dances and their parents or whoever caregiver lets them wear the short dresses. I'm like, no, that's not appropriate. Like, they're in grown folks' dresses going to a high school homecoming or whatever. Like, really? I wouldn't personally let my daughter wear something like that. I mean, true that just because a female wears something like that doesn't give a male the right to touch her inappropriately or whatever, but still, I don't think it's appropriate for a high school female to be wearing that kind of attire.
It starts sooner before that. When you think about it, when you think again, 11-year-old girls, 12-year-old lipstick, long eyelashes, fingernails. There's no reason to have all that shit. The long weave down to their ass and all that stuff. Some of them wearing with the wigs on and all that. Again, let them be kids. Let them be kids, because you're basically saying to them, you're my little grown lady that you can get this done. And like I had just told one of my little sixth graders, she about this damn big. And she came in, I think one of the days I said, "Oh, you got your nails done?" She's like, "Yeah, my mom took me to get my nails done." I said, "I don't know for what, because I'm raw. I just say what I want to say." I said, "I don't know for what." I said, "They're gonna be broke by the end of the day, because you stay putting somebody in a headlock, or she's just a little rough little girl." And I'm like, "You can't have nails and try to be all dainty and pretty, but meanwhile, I see you punch somebody in the damn chest, or you got somebody hemmed up, whatever." It doesn't go together. Say, "Whatever, Mr. Glover. Whatever, Mr. Glover. I'm about to go back to class." Okay, yeah, go back to class. You know you about to hear one. You about to hear it. Like it just don't go together, some of the stuff, whatever. I just
I'm so protective. I'm so protective over the females, in my family. Like, my little niece, when I moved here, she was 4, I think. Even when I took her, like, you remember the baby pool used to be here?
High Park.
Yeah. Even when I took her there, I'm like, she's not wearing no bikini. I don't think that's appropriate for
something I never understood.
A little girl. So, I would take her to go get her nails done, like a manicure and pedicure, but not fake nails. Just like painted, a conservative color. And she was not allowed to wear makeup. I don't think she started wearing makeup till she was like 16. And she is still conservative. I'd like to think I had a part in that upbringing for her. But even lipstick, I'll buy her like the lip smackers, like lip gloss or chapstick, but not all this makeup and stuff like that.
It's a prelude to it though.
Yeah, see, the thing.
Well,
even with-
eventually she's gonna wear makeup, but like, I think everybody needs chapstick.
No, it's not. It's not chapstick. It's the freaking lip gloss with the shit shiny and all
Right.
of that stuff. And the little boys have images, whatever. And
No, I didn't get her
it's
the
bringing out
shiny stuff.
It's bringing out your lips and all that stuff, and the little boys thinking otherwise. It's so many things that you have to think about that maybe a lot of people don't think about. You think it's cute.
Right.
Your lips popping, girl. Yeah, and the homeboy, little Tyreek think it's popping too, and he gonna show you it's popping when he text her and say, get a pass from your teacher, and I'm gonna get a pass, and let's go down to the bathroom by the cafeteria, so you you could do whatever, and it gets done
Oh my
because them lips was popping.
Yeah, I didn't buy her like lip gloss, like the lip smacker, like chapstick that's flavored like watermelon and stuff. The little girl stuff. And the little stickers that she liked to go on her nails. But
this is
I believe that little girls should grow up conservative.
Yeah,
and when they reach of age, they can decide how they want to be, because eventually is their life at 18 and older. Okay, you want to make that decision to have a dress up to your booty? I don't think so. Yeah,
Yeah, but the larger question comes, and this is something we've asked the question before: where are they getting the instructions from? Because
social media, the rap videos.
Well, let's eliminate rap. You're one influence.
Hip hop.
Their parents are one influence, but their friends are bigger influences. They could care less about being ostracized by you, but when they go to school, do you think they want to be the only kid sitting in the cafeteria eating lunch by themselves? So now they have to fight not to fit in, just to fit in. If that makes any sense. Let me say that another way. They have to figure out how to be the unpopular kid hanging out with the popular kids. That doesn't work, and certainly not well. So they're forced to make a decision. This is what David alluded to earlier when he said, well, we've been together longer and our friends are doing it and they haven't been together long. So now you have the unbearable pressure of having to have this pubescent girl, 14, maybe 15, making a decision that could potentially impact the rest of her life. And she's not equipped to do that. Hell, most adults aren't equipped to do that. So she's in the situation, and who does she talk to? Dad may be around. Mother may be interested. Mother may not be interested. Who's a trusted individual is going to say, hey, look, I understand what you're going through. Right now, it seems like you got the weight of the world on your shoulders. You know, you got this boy who you really like, and we know at that particular time in the young female's development that their feelings mean more than the goddamn earth ended. You could tell her the earth is in it now, yes, but my nails are cracked. She don't care. They're so heavily predicated on how they feel that they're willing to do anything to try and capture a feeling. So how do you guide a young, impressionable, hormonal female who caters to her feelings more than she does the reality of situations? This is why we end up
build her self-esteem.
Doing what? Remember, this is 1965.
Oh, 1965.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would say the same thing.
Oh,
I mean,
I'm
I
not saying you're
partly
wrong.
agree with you. I partly disagree with you.
No,
You don't have
I'm not
to.
saying you're wrong. I'm saying how.
How do parents and family usually instill self-esteem?
I have no idea. I was not around in 1965.
Well, I don't know either because I wasn't around either.
But that's the question that's
So,
on the table.
okay, I would assume it's the same as they do today. Build
Women.
build her up, make her
Mhm,
realize that she is worth something no matter what
mhm,
anybody tells her or makes
mhm,
her feel.
mhm.
Um you can be popular without wearing makeup. You can be in with different social circles without wearing makeup. Popular girls don't always wear makeup.
Okay.
So I understand what you're saying, like hormonal and everything. But on the other side, how do the popular girls that don't wear makeup are popular? Sometimes it's by their socioeconomic status,
Mhm.
and other times it's they could not have that status in their family, but that group still accepts them.
That's
I
that's.
was
Go ahead.
I was I was friends with all different social circles growing up, and I was raised conservative. I'm still conservative. I don't dress with my booty hanging out. I don't dress with my ass cheeks hanging out. I dress with my toes out and get my toes done. Y'all already know about me and my feet.
Trash.
Whatever. My feet are pretty. You don't have to agree. I have to live with my feet.
You
See?
gotta walk with them too.
Yep. I gotta walk with them. I gotta wear my little high heels with my toes out. Walk on the beach with my bare feet. So anyhow, yeah. That's all I got to say about that.
Well, the reason why I asked that is because if we look at circa 1965 as opposed to circa 2024, there are a lot more outlets for young girls. Sports is a major one. They contribute sports overwhelmingly to the fact that teen pregnancy is down because you have young girls that are involved in more things and they're just not sitting around being cheerleaders. They're
Right.
just not sitting. There's education, so they're just not sitting around chasing the popular jock with the hope of him actually marrying her and taking her out of poverty. That's one of the reasons why I mentioned the scholarship becomes so important for a lot of different factors, not just you know as a means to get him educated, but if he gets a degree and he gets a good paying job, she's gone. The movie Varsity Blues, that was a quintessential point in her chasing after the star quarterback, and when he got hurt, she dropped him because she was looking for a way out. And a lot of girls at that particular age were looking for a way out of small town America. They wanted to get to the big city. Matter of fact, the TV show Mary Tyler Moore was predicated on that. I don't know how many people remember the TV show, but Mary Tyler Moore was predicated on a younger woman getting out into the corporate world, making her way. She
Mary
didn't need a
Tyler
man.
Moore.
I personally love the show. I think she was a great actress, but that's just me. I like the theme song. I also like the original theme song, but that's just me. So, but that show was predicated on that. I mean, you think of a lot of TV shows that were emerging at that particular time between 1968, 69, and 1982. a lot of them were trying to urge women to get out there because now we had, you know, the all the legislation that came through under, I believe it was Nixon or Ford. I can't remember who the legislation came through under. And then you have the advent of Title IX, which made it essentially illegal to discriminate against women in terms of employment, education, and everything else that was federally sponsored. So, in other words, if a business received any type of federal assistance, they had to have an equal number of men and women working there. And also, this gets into a little bit of civics. Caucasian women and women, period, actually, because there was at that particular time there was only two major groups. There was African American and Caucasian. They were counted as two, so they were bumping men out of jobs. And this is where you start to see a change in the social fabric of America. This is where you started to see the rise of the independent woman, the educated woman, the woman that goes into a business for herself that doesn't need quote unquote a man. And a lot of that stuff is still pervasive to this day. This is why a lot of women were upset with the repealing of the abortion law, because they viewed it as an impingement upon their right to make a decision. Women still have every right, every unilateral right to decision making they had pre-law change.
I mean, I'm hearing what you're saying, but a quick thought just came across my head. Is that the bigger issue that we keep fighting, and it seems like we having these gender wars, whatever? When, and I've spoken on this before, when are we gonna eat our humble pie and say to ourselves, we need each other?
That's already coming to pass.
We need each other.
But it's happening in the younger generation. See, we don't see it because we're not there. But you see a lot of women who are actually starting to say, okay, wait a minute. Guys aren't approaching us. We're not getting dates. If we go out on dates, they want us to pay half of what it is that the amount is. Our mothers and grandmothers and great grandmothers didn't have to go through this. So what is it that we need to do to get back to where they were? That's already happened with the Gen A's, not so much the Gen Z's, but the Gen A's and what's the name coming after them? It's already coming down the pipe. But like I said, we don't see it because we're out of that realm now. We're more into the realm of being settled, and what we have is what we have. And if we find something along the way, cool. But if we don't, we don't.
I've been saying it for years, Herb. All they got to do is make you a damn sandwich at a goddamn time. Damn, could you make me a sandwich, whatever? I mean, they're fighting.
I don't know why they wouldn't.
Well, I mean, and I'm not saying this, but that's just like my little slogan thing that I run with. But I know that you hear a lot of guys, you hear a lot of people saying, or a lot of women saying, well, he can't come over my house like 6 to 9 months and this and that. But by that time, he's long gone. He's long gone. And I keep saying some guys travel the path of least resistance while he's into you, but you won't make him a damn sandwich or a home cooked meal. And you think every time y'all got to be eating at a damn restaurant. Meanwhile, the chick that maybe not into, she treating the motherfucker like a king. Like a king. So that's where he going at. Got his drink there, the remote control, the recliner chair. Like, come on, baby. Come on over. Come through here, whatever. I know you had a stressful week. Where you think he going to go? Would your stupid ass want to sit around at a restaurant or go over there and he can have seconds and thirds and have his drink and all that stuff? Where you think he going to go? And then he end up probably marrying that person. And you're like, I don't know how he ended up with her. Such and such. She don't even look, you're bad mouthing her and all that. She took care of him. She knew how to do it. Somebody schooled her well.
Mm-hmm.
And
I don't
that's
know
and,
why.
go
I
ahead,
don't know
Amelia.
why women have an issue with that. Like, what's the big deal? Like, if you treat a man like that and it's a mutual thing, why not do something that simple? Even even with uh even with my guy friends, if they come over watch football, or we go out, yeah, they come over watch football. Even at my mom's house, my papa, my stepbrothers come over. My mom cooks. Papa gets the beer. But if like they come over my house, my guy friends, and they want a beer, like they don't really even have to ask. If I see their beer is gone or half gone, I just get up and get them another one, and we'll be watching football. Like, what's the big deal? I don't get it.
Got lot of good comments coming through uh, that we need to address. The good doctor said
I guess
because
I just
cooking.
wasn't raised like that.
So the good doctor said because cooking for a man is oppressive.
What?
Like, yeah, and that's the mindset that people have. Like you wearing a freaking maid apron or something and cooking for a man. That means you're being oppressed. I don't know where these people get this stuff from. I can only assume that maybe they grandmothers are younger or whatever the case is, and they don't have them old school women in their life. But if they don't have someone, then they need to go venture off and see auntie or great auntie, somebody to sit with and have a conversation with. Um, this comment: the ladies think they're entitled for men to go over and beyond the call of duty. I ask all these women. Uh, I ask, are these women dateable?
That must be from Willie.
Then it say these girls aren't taught how to be ladies and how to treat people in general.
Some aren't. You're right. Some are not.
You know,
I know how I was raised, what I saw in my family, and my grandma, she passed away at 108 years old, like 2 years ago. So my mom is 67. She's the youngest sibling. My grandma had her at 42. So in my family, everybody's older. Like even my aunts are like 80 something. So I was raised with old fashioned values. So what I saw growing up is the men work and they provide and protect and ensure they have a safe place. And the woman, I'll say cater, pamper, whatever you want to call it, the men. As long as the men are doing their part, a woman should be doing their part.
well,
Even now that, we have independence and, still like, what's the big deal about treating somebody how they want to be treated as long as they're doing their part for you?
but see, that's the fallacy that a lot of women are living under, is that they're independent. What exactly are you independent from? You're independent from having somebody help you maintain a home, carrying half the financial load, worrying about your security, your whereabouts. I mean, if that's the kind of independence that a woman wants, by all means, have it. I will say this: as a 52-year-old man, I have absolutely no problem dealing with a woman who will, if I ask her, make me something to eat. Conversely, I also have no problem with giving that woman what she needs, and I mean that sincerely. If she needs something done around the house, all she has to do is ask. If I
And
can't get it done, I'll figure.
The
I
the
think
great
that's
the
how
great
it,
Dave the great Dave Ramsey, the financial guru, say, shit, you're not independent, you're not free until you're financially free.
Right.
You don't owe nobody nothing,
Right.
and you got everything in order. That's when you free. When you
Mhm.
could do what the fuck you want to do,
Mhm.
or whatever the case is. You ain't got to worry about going up in a job or whatever, and being on pins and needles, and you could do what the hell you want to do. That's when you feel free. Hence, Jay-Z's speech last night. That was a free. That was the autonomy, pretty much, to say he can say what the hell he want to say. Just continue showing up. That was what he was saying. Like, shit, I can do this now. I've been sitting at the table, and I can speak my mind. A lot of times we not free and all that. We can't speak our mind because we
Yeah.
worry about, damn, I might lose my job or this and that. When you financially free and you independent as far as that, that's when you're independent. Because all of this shit that you require other people assistant, you got work a job, you on Section 8, you get food stamps, your ass ain't free.
No.
And you got a lot of mouth and all of that stuff. But if that stuff came to a dead halt, then you sitting around looking stupid in the face.
Mhm.
Just the same as how we know it's that time now. Tax season. I always say people got an extra boost of confidence during that time. You can't tell them shit. But when that money run out, then their ass is walking around with their head to the ground. What, you broke now? That money gone? Because before you was brand new.
Mhm.
I might be being facetious. I'm just stirring the pot.
No,
Don't
no,
mind
man.
me.
You know, the funny thing about it, you're not wrong. Because when I was doing security at the casino, we would get an influx of people between March. No, if they did the early returns, we would see them end of February, beginning of March, on through April, May. We would get a boost of people coming in there dropping money, and we say, "Oh yeah, it's tax time." Come into April, beginning of May, they're gone. You don't see them anymore until next year. So there's a whole lot of validity to what you're saying in terms of that. And Bethany just said temporary wealth, and that's what it is. And this is why I'm always saying that those women who are getting back 6, 7, 8 grand, you need to get together with your fellow women. Go ahead and start buying some property, start investing. You want to set your kids up? Start opening them up in 539 savings plans. Go buy some property. That way, when them kids get of age, at least they got something to say. Oh, I got a piece of America. I got some land. We can build something on it, or we can sell it and buy into another big equitable business. But we don't do that. We flash substance. Ain't nobody planning for generational wealth. So when things happen collectively to disenfranchised groups, I don't bitch anymore. I'm 2024. I saw it last year with the last election in the city. I got no time for it now. So if you're crying, I'm asking you, what your balance sheet look like? What you investing in? What stocks you buying? What land you own? None? Okay, we can't even talk. I don't want to say hi to you. You might ruin my mood. That's where I am right now. I'm just done with people crying over stuff that they have a legitimate hand in controlling. That includes getting pregnant. If you're out here running around, jumping on D's, hopping in P's indiscriminately, and won't catch you, I don't want to hear about you got caught by the Venus flytrap. No, you saw the sweet nectar. And you said, you jumped in all raw, dog, no raincoat.
Some of that shit ain't sweet because they eat any fucking thing, so we already know it ain't.
Oh my goodness.
My bad. I'm just saying. I'm being real. I'm being transparent. Damn.
And some of those D's ain't all that either.
Okay. Hit
So-
for tat.
That's right. I gotta make it known.
Thank you, Daphne. You got that right. Yes. Some of that shit there. Fruit flies and all that shit won't even come near that. Like, man. But I'm laughing at the comment before, Daphne. You said teachers in the BPS is blowing up the HR for their W-2s.
Yeah.
They waiting. They ready.
And we know the vast majority of teachers aren't men. See,
That's
I owe
true.
every year. I owe every year. So I don't even care. Matter of fact, my uncle knocking on my door right now talking about pay us. We gonna take your house. We gonna cut us a wages. I gotta call him now. I gotta set up a payment plan now with my uncle knocking down my door like he owned me. But I mean, honestly,
So,
go ahead.
oh, I was gonna say, so Daphne's prior post, she said she's dependent and independent, depending on the situation or environment. Um, I would agree with that. Me, I will never say I don't need a man. A man to me adds, well, should add value to your life. Even though I'm single, I still value my guy friends and my stepbrothers and my stepdad in my life. I will never say I don't need them. Um, Also, oh, what I was taught growing up is never depend on a man to help you financially. If you can't do it yourself, don't do it. Wait until you
That-
can do it. For
That's what someone
instance,
taught you.
yeah. For instance, when I bought my house, I had a serious boyfriend, but I didn't ask him for a dime to help with my closing costs or anything else to buy my house. No, if I can't do it and afford the mortgage by myself, I'm not going to do it because I'm not going to depend on somebody else to help me out. Because what if that relationship didn't last and his name was on the mortgage and I could not afford my mortgage and to run my household by myself? I'd be shit out of luck, you know? And, you know, if we had a kid together and he decided to stay and we had some relationship difficulties, I'll say, you know, then we're stuck in a house together raising a kid and we're unhappy, but we both got to maintain the house and our financial obligations. Like, what kind of a life is that? So I believe that as a woman, if I say I don't need a man, and a lot of women say I don't need a man, I think that some of them are expressing that they don't need a man to help them financially. They're financially independent of a man. That's what I am. I have my own, and I don't depend on anybody except for myself
The-
for that financial stability. I'm financially stable. I know how to budget, manage my money and my bills. I, you know, pay my own house bills, run my own house financially. But this is the first year in a long time that I'm gonna do taxes. Granted, I only have like 2.5 months worth of taxes, but prior to that, I didn't have any taxable income. So the last time I did taxes was 2018 or 2019, but I was still financially stable.
the problem is a lot of the people that's saying that again, like I said earlier, are receiving assistance from somewhere, uh, and therefore they might say they don't need a man directly, that particular man, but they're receiving assistance somewhere. Once, if you're receiving assistance from somewhere, government funds or whatever, that nullifies that whole thing. I don't need a man. That cancels out everything. Yeah, I said it. I said it. It canceled it all out because clearly you need something. You
Yep.
need something, and And like you did make a good point, and either like a lot of them may be saying financially, but to say you don't need a man and you got a couple sons, in as far as if he's a a good working civil individual that's not in and out of jail, you need him for something. You need him for something, for rearing and guidance of your sons or whatever. Even you could have 2 or 3 girls. You're gonna need him for something. So people
Yep.
need to all of that shit be cliche and just like trending topics or subjects that people just uh copycat society. I'm just gonna go ahead and say that. I'm gonna make a meme. I'm gonna post a video saying all that. Shut the hell up, for real. Shut the hell up.
I mean,
Hey,
if a woman wants to do all the hard tasks that a man can do easier, good for her. Me, I don't want to. I don't want to deal with the plumbing and, well, health wise, I can't do yard work or shovel because of my bad heart. But all the heavy duty lifting that's easier for a man to do, I'd rather, ask for help. If a woman doesn't want to, more power to her. That ain't me. I'll never say I don't need a man,
well,
because everybody needs each other for something.
ooh.
It shouldn't be battle of the sexes.
It's not even that. What it has boiled down to is that this what people need to understand, and this circles back to the larger thing. If they took away all the safety nets that women were able to use to support themselves,
Like what?
name one.
I don't know. You
WIC.
name some.
I can name a
You
few.
said it.
Let's take away WIC. Let's start there. Then let's take away.
Why
food
take
stamps.
away WIC though?
Who
That's
uses
for
it?
the baby.
Let him
That's
finish,
for the
Anita.
baby though. Oh, go
Who
ahead.
who use? But that's why I said, circling back to what we were talking about. If this guy decides to go on to college and not drop out, she's left to raise his child by herself. What is she going to get?
You can get WIC if you have a man.
What is she going to get? Daphne's giving you the answer.
Oh, SNAP benefits? I wasn't looking at the screen.
What else is there? She's
WIC?
telling you as a woman.
Yeah, okay. I don't see anything wrong with that.
There's another one that they get.
Beef? Yeah.
Keep naming them, Daphne. I'm gonna let you do my heavy lifting tonight.
Yeah,
Since the
keep
women-
naming them.
Since the women want to seem to be so obtuse when I say it.
I'm
All
not being
the stuff-
obtuse when you say it.
Yes,
I'm
in
just-
group.
I'm just
In
saying.
group. In group.
I'm
When I-
just
when I-
saying.
When I call them obstinate, Section 8 vouchers, all of this stuff is predicated on the tax dollar. Now, if what women have been saying about the wages being unequal between men and women, and if men are paying the lion's share of the taxes, then they really don't need men? Or is that false bravado? I mean, let me know.
Where y'all at, people? Where y'all at, ladies? So, again, I mean, for people to speak that, again, as a man, we can make a good living, but I'll be damned if I say, oh, I'm all right. I mean, of course, I'll live, whatever, but life is supposed to be lived a little easier. When life is lived a little easier, you live longer. The more components you struggle with, the sooner you're going to be ready. Somebody will be digging your grave.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the whole point when you start, like, how do I get rid of the less complicated situations and have more peaceful situations, whether it's at work, your home life, recreational stuff. There's, and I'm just gonna take it to recreational stuff. There's no point you being on a bowling team and you go out, but you arguing every weekend, every Saturday with people on your team, and it becomes stressful and all that. It's supposed to be peaceful. You have to find peace in every area, and when people are not, they infiltrate that, then that's when you know, like, okay, this is not what I need, and then you look for certain things that can fulfill that to make it about peace.
I agree. I'm not always obstinate.
No, but when I made that statement, it was in reference to the counselor's corner because you'll have a lot of women who believe that if they were on the planet with nothing but other women, that there would be no relationship problems.
Oh.
Which is highly ironic, given that when they're same-sex couples, the domestic abuse rises.
Listen,
So how in the hell are they maintaining that?
we also know that some of them are they're falling into the Princella trap because she cooking right now a little bit. She's cooking.
Royalty.
Princella.
I call her royalty.
Can
Well,
you
she-
explain that? 'Cause I don't know what you was talking about.
You didn't. Don't worry about
Princella.
it. You're not missing anything.
Well, I still
Yeah.
want to understand.
You missing the claptrap. Talk a whole lot of shit about this and that. That's a nutshell. Royalty.
Princella.
Nicki,
I refuse to use the
I
name royalty.
thought you were talking about Nicki Minaj and Megan Thee Stallion.
Hell, they're
No,
cheerleaders. They ain't
it's
the head villains.
it's a content creator that she was she was active in the counselor's corner. We were invited to her show, and she got a nice following, and you know she's doing a little. She's putting in work. I ain't gonna hate on her for that, but I think we were the first ones who set the tone for her to battle against all of these guys. We were the first ones, and it wasn't even a battle. That wasn't even our intent. I think I was in Facebook jail. She was supposed to come to the counselor's corner,
Correct.
and we had to go to her platform, and she had all her people she manipulated the whole situation to the point she's in battle. Charleston White, didn't she go at it with Obsidian and all of these people?
No. Sinner in the
Oh, he
Saint.
just
and
made
Sinner in
clip-
the Saint did her a demo, boy. Ooh, Sinner in the Saint.
What'd
lit
you
her
say?
ass up. There's
Who?
a content creator called Sinner in the Saint. And they had a discussion, and simply put, when he was done, she was disassembled.
What do you mean?
Let's just say, she was talking. She didn't say too much anymore. At least to him on that particular platform, on his or her platform about that. See, this is what people have to realize about.
Maybe she was like
What?
being like you, like fuck it.
No,
Well, her
no.
whole premise and her whole premise, Anita, is that men are incapable of love. That's her whole thing.
No,
okay.
you to put me and her in the same sentence, and that's a disservice to me personally. I take a damn near offense to that because I am nothing like she is. There are certain things.
Well, I don't know what the content was, so.
Well, no, I'll send you some clips of what she said.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
what she said is not private; it's very public. But the thing about it is, it's just like David said. She's out here ranting and raving about what men aren't capable of, when through every step of her life, a man has helped her. So for a man to do something for you, as far as men goes, that's the ultimate form of affection. Because if we don't care for you, we're not going to do anything for you.
That's true.
We're not going to hold the door for you. We're not going to help you. We're not going to give you any advice, information, anything. So she's benefited all the while. She's offering backhanded and salacious replies to what men are doing. On top of that, she's got a kid. But now she bats for the other team. So you tell me what you would think about a female like that. Anybody like that for that matter. It's like, oh, wait a minute. How are you going to sit here and bash 48% of the population because you feel some kind of way? And it's the same thing that we talk about in the Counselor's Corner. They bitch about what isn't posted, but they won't post anything. But you ask them a question and they take offense to it. When 98% of what they talk about is geared towards being dishonest about men and the role that men have played in their lives. Like, how can you speak derisively about men and dating if you're perpetually single? What frame of reference are you speaking from? Because that makes absolutely no sense. That's almost, I want to say almost, the equivalent of a Caucasian male talking about the black male experience. Most people will look at that dude like, what the hell do you know about being black? There's only one guy I know. There might be more, but at least only one guy I know of that actually talks about the black male experience through black male eyes, and that's Tim Wise. Tim Wise has it damn near down to a science, and he's not speaking to black people. He's speaking to Caucasian America. And it wasn't until the advent of people like him come along. I know we're getting a little bit off the topic. The advent of people like him came along that certain headway was made into the laws, the economic system, and how just they are towards black Americans. So that's why we talk about these things, and she happened to come to the forefront in terms of the discussion. But the nonsense that we've been hearing for at least half a century, we're pushing back on it now. So if a woman happens to get pregnant and a guy takes a scholarship and he goes on and he makes good, we are not going to condone or necessarily condemn him. We're going to say, you know what? We understand. We understand you were out here playing fast and loose with yourself. You got yourself in a situation. You didn't abandon the situation completely. You went ahead and did what's in your best interest, and now you're coming back to pick up what you left. A lot of women won't like that. They'll say it's abandonment. If that's the case, if abandonment is the case, then what say Black America to all the women who have helped to terminate the 20 million abortions? That's solely in their discretion. See, they won't talk about that. They'll get real tight-lipped. We got to defend the system. No, you don't. You just have to acknowledge the truth. That was a unilateral decision made by black women and black women alone to terminate those pregnancies. But they ain't gonna discuss that. They want to talk about the toxic masculinity. So I'll see your toxic masculinity, and I'll raise you the abortion question. When they discuss that, then we can talk about toxic masculinity. But I understand the man that takes that scholarship and run. He's got a once in a lifetime opportunity to make good on either making a league, which is slim to none, or getting a degree, which is very more than likely if he applies himself academically.
I mean, I think in that situation, both people need to be in sync. And for that woman, she needs to know like what she's getting into, and you would hope. Sometimes people, they say, "Oh, she knew what she was doing. She got pregnant on purpose. She knew he was about to." in this day and age. He was about to come into that bag and all of that stuff. And a lot of guys are, unfortunately, a lot of these women are getting into their bags. They're making these irrational or these decisions of lust, and they're paying absurd amounts of money a month to some of these women for child support, some of these athletes. And then you wonder why when you see years later that they're broke. Not only they're broke, they got CTE, they're broke, and they went through hell and
What's
back.
CTE?
I can't remember the injury that's associated, but it's severe brain damage from repeated head trauma.
Yeah. And a lot of, you'll see a lot of athletes who have concussions and stuff on their numerous concussions that further down the road, they may end up with that. And it's bad. When they had that, it's bad. Like, I could say one of his boys, Tony Dorsett, saying sometimes he can't.
Yeah,
He'd drop his kids off to school and couldn't remember how to get back home.
yeah. It's sad, man. It really is. It hurts.
Yeah. So it's real. So, and I think a lot of times people look at like people who have that path for athletics that it's all easy, it's all good, but they put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into that, and that time frame it's a short window.
Yep, it sure is.
It's not forever. So, and I remember I used to be one that say, "Man, ain't no way. How could somebody leave college to go to the NBA?" But now they have the NIL deals and all that stuff. But back in our days, it was like, I'm like, you need to get your degree. You need to get your degree. But then as I got older, I started thinking, why the fuck would somebody sit around in college when they can make millions and ain't no job that they're going to get from this university is going to grant them $1 million contracts or whatever the case, that if they properly invest, that they could be set for life. Man, the hell with college, whatever. At that point in time, let me go get this money. And a lot of times, I remember I had a whole thread going back and forth about Money Mayweather, and they was like, "Well, he can't read." I said, "He can read. He just ain't reading at the level that he's supposed to be reading." But keep in mind, he made a decision to. He dropped out in the 12th grade. So if he got to the 12th grade and he can't read, somebody failed him. His parents, as well as the school system. So he decided to, go to the Olympics, then turn professional, then end up being a billionaire. So I was arguing back and forth with people, and they was like, "I can't believe you as an educator, you're standing up for that person." I said, what has you reading at the 15th your reading level, and he may be at 6 or 7. What has that gotten you compared to him that he's a billionaire?
Yeah.
Like so now I'm like, yo, you got to get it while you can. Unfortunately, you got to get it while you can, because it don't last forever. And if it's an opportunity to get it, then you have to use your talents and do what you got to do. So I've never been. I always say he's a genius in his own way as far as marketing and branding to get himself to that point to be billionaire status. All of them, those dudes, like Jay-Z said in a speech, whatever. Until you get recognized as a genius, they're geniuses. They're geniuses. They honed it. They mastered their craft, and they did what they had to do. You can go to college for years and years and years upon years and still die broke. Whereas some people, they work on their craft, they do what they got to do, and they make it happen.
Yeah, there's a rap song that says you can go to college for years and be the world's top scholar. Out here's life's a gamble. People scratching for dollars.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I mean, it's and we don't try to bring humor to this situation. We try to make light of it because this is going to be coming back around. While the individuals involved, might be opposites. She might have a full ride scholarship. He might be the one that wants a child, and she might be in a state where abortion is legal. What does she do? This is why this is one of the 100 questions. Do you support abortion? Do you support being pro-choice or pro-life? Because we tend to look at this from the prism of the female being the one who has to make, quote unquote, the decision because it's her life. While yes, she does. She might be in the catbird seat with the scholarship, because there's a lot of women now who are getting athletic scholarships or academic scholarships, and they're saying, "Hey, look, it was just a night of pleasure for me. I didn't intend on anything long term. I'm sorry you feel that way." I've had that. I've had that happen in a similar circumstance to where a female I was dating called me after we had broke up about a month later. I didn't get the message, unfortunately, and she told me she aborted the kid. What kid? Now, it turns out that even if I had wanted the child, there was nothing I could do because she had already went through with the procedure. So the question becomes, why would you tell somebody after the fact? Other than to try and piss them off?
Know.
Say it again?
She thought you should know.
Know what?
What happened?
Why in the world would I want to know something so dastardly?
Well, that's you. That's not all men.
But the point is, why not tell me beforehand?
Could she get a hold of you?
She knew where I went to school at. She knew my dorm number. What do you mean could she get a hold of me?
That's a matter of control to reunite the conversation again, to start it back up so you could have questions and try to lure you back in. Then you have another night of passion again, and similar situations might arise. That's what that is. If it's already been done, what's the point? And if y'all haven't been communicating, then that's some old self-fulfilling thing that she's trying to do, sort of like mind games or whatever. Yeah, I'm gonna tell them this.
That's
tell them
exactly what it was.
And that's what that was
years
about.
later, I'd seen her, and I was at a Taste of Buffalo with the female I was dating then, and walked right by her. Didn't even acknowledge her existence, and she called out my name. It's like I knew her. And my girl said, "Didn't she call you?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Why don't you stop?" I said, "I'll tell you later." So when we got in the car, I told her. She said, "You used to let me know how to whoop their ass." That's why I didn't tell you.
What would that accomplish, though? Nothing.
You know what? Why didn't you ask yourself that question before you said, because maybe she thought you should know?
Well, maybe. I mean, that does happen. Maybe some guys will want to know.
What would that have accomplished?
You have a right to know, or
what does that accomplish?
It's done. It's done deal. Like,
informing you.
But you're still not answering the question. What would that have accomplished?
I personally know guys that would want to know, even after the fact.
What does that accomplish? You're still not answering the question.
I don't know.
it's interrupting peace. It's interrupting peace in that person's life, in putting something in their head. So, if
with the emotions, so she thinks you should know too, just in case you want to know.
that sounds sick.
Yeah, demented.
No.
What was he going to do with that? What was he going to do with that information? That's counseling 101. What was he going to do with that information? If you can answer that, then we can move on. What was he going to do with that information?
Have knowledge of it. Have knowledge that maybe we should be more careful in the future.
What future?
Great awareness.
What future? We had no future. Her and I were broken up. For the record, I never thought the child was
I'm
mine.
talking
Anyway. It's
about.
just the
I'm
point.
talking about you in the future with other women.
You're not making any sense.
Yes, I am.
To
I'm
you,
making
maybe, but
sense.
you're not to me.
Okay, well, that's you. I'm saying because you got her pregnant and she told you, hey, this is what happened. You know, this is what I chose to do.
No.
Maybe
See,
you would be more careful in the future with
I-
other women.
I think you're missing something. One, I never thought the child was mine.
Okay, but what if it was?
Hold on. Two, she told me long afterwards. So I never knew anything about the potential of her possibly being pregnant. So what would that have to do?
Maybe she was dealing with it.
Say that
And
again?
wasn't ready. Maybe she was dealing with it and wasn't ready to talk about it.
I'm giving you the side eye right now.
I don't care. Give me the side eye all you want to.
Like
There are men. There are men that would want to know, even if it's
Yeah.
later.
Yeah, I want to know. Oh my, oh, did you? Oh, you had an abortion or whatever, baby. Oh my God. Like Daphne said, keeping you emotionally hostage. That was the whole plan. That's the whole plan. Oh, okay.
That was her
then we
intent.
know that-
Sometimes I can agree with you. Sometimes that may be the case.
No, that was her intent. Trust me. Because when I hung up the phone on her, she was. Because when I hung up the phone on her, she was thoroughly surprised. That wasn't what she was expecting.
Yeah, because most people will be like, damn, she just told me this, so you're gonna want more, and it's gonna lead to you calling or texting or whatever the case is, and it gives that person control. I got some information he needs from me, and he's gonna want to know details, so I have control. She wanted control over the situation. Once that happened, she lost all control with him. So therefore, if he moved on and he's carrying on with his life, she wants to interrupt his peace. So you can dance around the mulberry bush all you want, Anita, but I think this one
Well,
is pretty solid.
we can agree to disagree then.
But what it,
Maybe
What
in
you
her
do?
maybe in her situation, okay, got it. Tracking. But that's
but there
not
was
the case
nothing to
for
there's nothing to
some
disagree
situation.
about.
Okay. In your situation, okay, if that's what you think, that's what you think.
But that's what we're dealing with. We're eyeballing the situation with her. We're not talking about Lawrence or whatever down the road. We're talking about this situation right here.
Herbert,
There's nothing to disagree with. What she did was dastardly, underhanded, and manipulative. There's no other way to classify it. Let me put this a different way.
okay, you don't have to put it any different way.
No.
That's
I want to make a succinct.
That's what you're telling us.
No, I want to make a succinct point so other people out there understand.
Okay.
Just imagine if you're in a situation where you have information that could potentially save somebody's life, but you don't say nothing until after that person dies. What do you think people are going to think of you?
Anita?
Oh, you're asking me? I thought it was a rhetorical question for the
No,
audience.
well, it will turn out to be as soon as you answer.
Can you say it again?
You have information that potentially could save somebody's life, but you don't say anything until after that person dies. How do you think people are going to look at you?
Crazy? Did you hear me?
I didn't.
Oh, I said crazy.
Bingo! That's what she is, and that's what we're trying to tell you, but you keep running from that fact.
Okay.
There is nothing to be done by me knowing that. Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Okay. From Herbert Lewis.
No, you just answered. You just qualified it.
Like a billion times. Okay. You said what you said. Now, okay. Move on. Moving right along. You know, I'm going to still speak my mind even if nobody agrees with me.
But
Okay.
see,
Don't agree with me then.
we
Nita,
keep
I
trying to
think
get
you can cuss right now.
What do you mean?
Google
What do you mean?
it. You're concussed.
What does that mean?
You suffered a concussion, maybe multiple.
Oh, I thought you said you think I can cuss.
No, you are concussed.
Oh,
That's all right. We
Okay,
still love you.
whatever.
We still love you anyway.
I know. Ain't no reason not to.
And as y'all was going back and forth, where you at, Willie A. Price? Willie still dropping these, and it's off the subject. It's kind of relevant to what we're talking about, but I just wanted to read it. He was like, I'm a man that has no car note, no mortgage payments, no student loans, no medical bills, no bank loans, no credit card debt, no debt at all. Why would I want to hook up and date and marry a woman that's in debt and believes that I should be paying her bills in debt for her?
But he pays rent.
That's not a
So-
bill.
It is
That's
a
a-
bill.
No, that's a living
Right?
expense.
Okay.
you
But
can always-
it's still something he got to pay every month.
Well, yes, that is true. But you also you also eat every day. That's not a bill.
So it
Okay.
sounds like he's saying he pretty much financially free.
Independent. Yeah.
I
And
think Willie is concussed. him and his what you call it, repeated selfies. He just recycles his selfies.
know what? You gonna mess around and I'm gonna set up the Willie and Anita battle. Remember we had the Igor and Sir Tice battle. And I think that's what it needs to boil down to in the counselor's corner. We need to start having some one-on-ones on here. People having some conversations going back and forth. Somebody said, "No, she's vitamin D deficient."
You know me about Willie?
Say what?
I said it doesn't mean I want Willie.
I mean,
Willie
you want him,
A.
but
Price speaks.
seems like you've been taking a lot of shots at Willie. He's saying he pretty much saying he got financial freedom. Why would he engage in somebody that has all this baggage? He don't want it. Don't want it.
Plus, Willie's been single forever.
He
Willie's al-
finds fault in everything.
But Willie's also been married before too. So I mean, from
That don't have nothing to do with nothing.
but he has if anything, he has a
That shouldn't
vantage-
deter somebody to, you know.
no, hold on. If anything, it gives him an advantage on speaking on certain things.
maybe his marriage and what didn't work.
Okay, what other perspective would he need to speak from about it then? Most of us speak from our own perspective. That's what makes the opinion what it is. Not necessarily man law, but hey, it's an opinion. But it's an
Herbert's
opinion.
right.
But it's just
Well,
it's an opinion rooted in his experiences. That's all.
Well, yeah, and
You
I think
are
that's the
right.
problem.
Herbert.
I think that's the problem. A lot of people are not really speaking from their own personal perspective. They're speaking on what they see around social media and all that, and they're just like regurgitating information, but they can't recite anything to give any personal facts or whatever the case is. I know this to be true because this situation or this happened with me. So when you had that type of feedback to offer, you don't care what nobody say. You know, at this particular case, it's no absolute because this happened with me. And a lot of people, they just going by, clicking, seeing on TikTok at work, bored, and then that stuff get ingrained in their head, and that's the end all be all. You damn fools.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Let me read
Media is
Daphne's
the
comment.
devil.
Let me read Daphne's comment. You have to be upfront. I told my husband before we got married that I was going to go back to school to get my master's and doctorate. And if he didn't want to wait for me to finish and be in depth, I'll understand. He stayed, but I felt it was important to tell him what he was getting into.
Full disclosure.
Good for you, Daphne. I'm glad you did your thing. Regardless.
Nah, neither whether wait till you in. Nah, wait. No, why you do that shit? Why you get into
Whatever.
that shit?
Whatever. I can hold my own. Okay. I ain't scared.
Okay.
I'm a little feisty right now.
Gina said, you guys are in a no-win situation. She's hell-bent in female autonomy and negative liberty. Damn, that's a
Who
lot.
said that? Post that comment.
You see it?
I can't. No, I don't see it. I say.
You see
I
it now.
You guys are in a no-win situation. She's held bent on female autonomy. Negative liberty. Okay, that's your opinion. That's your opinion. Everybody's got one. Just like an asshole. Everybody got one.
He said he uses Sherman and a bidet, so he good.
So do I. I'm good too. Tis what it is. But hey, y'all, I gotta get going. My dog needs my attention, and I gotta clean my house.
Mr.
Well,
Holly.
He's
Well,
waiting
we
for
might
me
as
to
well have some closing
him out.
comments, and we all get out of here. So, at this point, so Anita, give us your closing comment. It was a lot said, a lot disputed. What you want to close out? What you want the people to know, or how you feel about this whole situation?
I feel like both parties are going half on a baby. So both parties need to talk about it beforehand. And if they don't, and by some 50% chance the woman gets pregnant, they both need to deal with it and not opt to terminate the pregnancy unless it's a life and death situation.
Okay.
Both parties need to act responsible, take responsibility and accountability for their actions. Personal growth.
All right.
Growth mindset.
Respect. Big Bad Wolf.
Say it, Herbert.
One of my favorite cartoons growing up was G.I. Joe.
All-American hero.
They had an axiom, and the axiom goes as follows. Knowing is half the battle. But far too often, we send these kids in the quote-unquote conflict without any information. And we expect them to know. And when they do something, and we turn around, we look at them, and we say, didn't you know that could happen? They say, yeah, but. Well, if there was a yeah, then there should be no but. But there is a but. And the but is they didn't think it could happen to them. So we must arm these kids with all the information, pertinent or otherwise, so their actions can be informed. I'll reckon back to what I talked about last week when I said I almost took advantage of the drunk female, and I had in place, a rule that I shouldn't break, and I broke the rule, and I'm going to pay dearly for it. This is what we have to arm these kids with, so they understand that There is no in case emergency break glass. The emergency should say, if you need to break this glass, then stop what it is that you might be doing or are about to do and go do something else. That's how we potentially can prevent these situations from happening, because rest assured, with the overturning of Roe v. Wade, you're going to have more of these situations coming down the pipe because parents are not going to do their due diligence in arming their kids with the information that's necessary. And as always, growth and understanding curves in the gray area. Godspeed. See you next time.
I have one more thing to add.
You always
This
do that. You always
I know.
do.
Well, I just thought of it. I'm a slow thinker. Come on now. These days, the what's it called? The Plan B, you can get right at the drugstore, over the counter. You don't even need a prescription. You don't even need to go to the pharmacy to get it. In some cases. So if that's the case, if it was a oops and in the heat of passion, then both parties should discuss it. Or if it was just a one night thing and she don't want to call him because she don't respect him, oh well she got to go to the she got to think about that in her head and be like, okay, I need to go get the plan B just in case. I mean, it shouldn't be used in place of birth control, no. But if there's an oops, then there's always a plan B. I don't think terminating a pregnancy should be birth control or a plan B or C. All right, that's my closing comments.
All right, appreciate it. And I don't even look, for me, I don't even look at it as we were promoting that to terminate the pregnancy. I think it's about communication, realizing what's in front of you. Like who are you people to support you? Who's on your team? And if it happens, because you always got a plan for the worst, and that may not be the worst, but in that situation with him, this guy with a full ride scholarship, it may be the worst situation there. But who does he have in his corner? Who's going to make it better for him, and vice versa? Because sooner or later, you have to come together as a united front and figure out, we got to make it right for this child that's coming into this world. Because if we take it back to the 1965s, the kid was going to be born. So now you all got to chip in together. Everybody got to work together and help each other out. And with the hope that he may be the meal ticket for many of y'all, that your whole life can change. So I think overall, we have to look at, this might be a rare, unique situation that this doesn't happen all the time, but just overall, having conversations, connecting with the right people, and everybody coming together, and not having so much animosity and despair towards each other, because at the end of the day, the child's gonna be born, and you want them to have something better than what you had. So we always have to keep that in mind. So with that said, we out. Everybody have a great rest of their week. Continue posting in the Counselor's Corner. It's wild in there. Join at your own risk. But
I'm taking a break for a whole minute.
A lot of people need to take breaks, whatever. But
I'm gonna be enjoying my vitamin D.
You're gonna enjoy it, but you'll probably be sitting here sipping on a fruity drink and say, "Man, I need some mental stimulation. Let me click on and see what's going on in the Counselor's Corner."
Nope, I'm good. I'll be sitting by the pool.
All right. Well, if you do what you need to do. But I hope you have safe travels. Enjoy yourself. Recuperate, refresh. and come back and be re-energized, whatever.
Well, thank you. I'll see
No
y'all
problem. You're
later.
welcome. All right, see you and everybody else. Have a good night, and we'll talk to you soon. Peace.
Love y'all.
Love you too.